Hello. Good afternoon, all virtual attendees from Asia, and good morning to those who are in Europe. I am Wanvisa, representing the organizing team of AGRITECHNICA Asia and HORTI Asia Digitals. Allow me to quickly recap our highlights events of digital virtual platforms in what we showed in the video just now. Okay, the first is the digital talks, which you are online with us today. It runs on a monthly basis in which experts from different regions on the world exchange views on current problems in agriculture and outline possible solutions. Today's discussion about the solution of silage making for dairy cattle has received attentions from top milk production corporates like Vinamilk, Nestle, Prasanpanich, etc. Attendees are from 22 countries all over the world, and essentially all of you will have an opportunity to virtually connect in our networking platform. This is the second highlight of what I mentioned in the beginning. We call it Digital Connect. Your personal platform assistant, Christy Lee, will send you an invitation to log into the platform on Monday. You can source for technologies that serve your interest and might help tackle your farming operational problems. Then schedule for meeting with these innovators, and you can also send a direct message or meet over a video call at your free time slots. Last but not least, I do hope that the COVID-19 situation improves in a positive way in the next 3-4 weeks, as the vast amounts of vaccine have been distributed in many countries. I personally look forward to seeing you in person at our physical events on the 7th to 29th of May. Moving forward to today's discussion, it is now my pleasure to hand over a stage to Dr. Klaus, who will be moderating along with our invited experts for today's digital talks.
Thank you, Per, for the introduction. And well, ladies and gentlemen, silage production for me is a kind of an art. It's a matter of logistics, of shreddage quality, the conservation in the silo, and much more. In every single step, already a small lack of imperfectness affects already the whole production chain, and subsequently, of course, the quality of feed and the performance of the dairy herd. So, how to keep up the quality throughout the whole production chain, and what is needed to ensure sufficient feed supply. My name is Klaus Edle of the German Agricultural Society of the DLG, and I welcome you to learn more about this kind of art to produce high quality silage. Well, let's welcome our first, so to say, artist in this subject, Mr. Gonen Harel. He's Husbandry and Veterinary Director of the Vietnam Dairy Products Joint Stock Company, known as Vinamilk. And he is responsible for silage production for one of the leading dairy companies in Vietnam. Mr. Gonen, I'm happy that you share your time and your experience with us. And I directly give over to you for your presentation. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Klaus, for the nice introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, all fine.
Okay, so nice to meet you all. My name is Gonen. I original from Israel. In the last 10 years, I live and work in Vietnam in the dairy industry. In the last 3 years, I work for Vinamilk company, joint company, and I'm responsible on some few projects of dairy. In Vinamilk, it's 3 farms. Every farm is 2,000, 2 farms of 2,000 cows and 1 farm with 4,000 cows. So we have a big challenge to feed all these animals. And I will share with you our objective problem that we are facing to make silage and how we solve them, and what is the trade-off that we are doing to feed all these animals. So we can move to the next slide. So our objective in Vietnam is that we have big farms with not all the land, not enough land for growing all the forage by ourselves. So we are based on a lot of small farmers that are supplying forage for us, mainly corn silage, fresh corn that we make from it silage. So the land in Vietnam is divided for a very small, every farmer have around 1 hectare of his own. And they are using mainly floating irrigation system and rain. Each farmer cultivates his own land by themselves. They don't cooperate too much. They cooperate about the sales, but they don't agree to share the land, like to give the land and to make like a big area of field crops, because they don't trust so much that they will get the share as if they share it with other people. They prefer to grow everything by themselves. And to control their own growth, their own land. So the way they doing the field crops, it's not allowed to get inside with machines. So everything has to be harvested more or less by hand, or with very old-fashioned way of harvesting. So this is quite amazing. It's like, if you think about it, we have farms of 4,000 cows that I think 80 to 90% of the forage is harvested by hand. So a lot of work for a lot of people. 0.6. So one of the objective problems that we are facing, that it's the land, sometimes the fields are quite far from the farm, and because it's harvested by hand, and then it's many times it's also load on the truck by hand. So sometimes it take in a good practice, it will take 6 hours to come to the farm, but in some cases it can take 12 hours. Or even 24 hours. As I said, the farms are a huge farm for 2,000, 4,000 cows. So the way it's working, it's harvested by hand, the whole plant, and then it's come to the farm, and in the farm we have to process to chop it and to put it into the bunker, sealing, adding inoculate. Everything is done in the farm, and this is how we're making the silage. We can move to the next slide. The farmers like to have another problem that we are facing, many times the corn is a little bit young, because the farmers, they like to harvest and to get more, to harvest young, and then they can make maybe another cycle on the land and get more profit from it. The risk, so the average is 80 to 90 days, the days they harvest the corn. And it's also, there is a lot of competition about the corn between the big companies in Vietnam. So between other dairy companies, there's also beef growing that they like to get the corn fresh. They don't even make silage. So the we're not always getting the quality that we want to buy. We're buying what we can from the farmers, depend on the competition in each area. So sometimes the dry matter is quite low, and what we are doing in this case, we are adding corn grain into the silage to increase the starch and to get better fermentation. Another problem that we're facing sometimes, it's the storm in the rainy season. It's from time to time it's happened that there is a big storm and the fields are collapsed, all the corn is falling down, and to keep our relationship with the farmers, we keep buying this. We make all our effort to get this corn and to use it as quick as we can. Okay, this is, we can move to the next slide. So the main thing I'm going to talk in this presentation is about the chopping, the way we chop the corn, and because this is our biggest challenge when we are working with such a big farms. So when I came to Vietnam 10 years ago, the only available chopping machine that we had to chop in the farm was a Chinese machine, typical Chinese chopper machine. You can show now the movie. It's short. Okay. So this kind of chopping machine required a lot of labor, and the capacity is quite low. So when the farm was growing, we were looking for other solution, and we came to develop some technician in Vietnam. Sorry, they very talented technician in Vietnam. They start to develop all kind of machine, and in the left side you can see the picture of a rotogrind machine made in Vietnam that specifically developed for corn. And this was a jump in our ability to deal with huge quantities of corn coming from this farmer. You can see on the bottom a picture of farmers coming with their tractors and bringing their own corn to the farm. And you can show how the first rotogrind machine work. So I think it's enough. Okay, so the rotogrind machine, it gives us today a very high capacity. You will see in a few minutes another movie on the latest development of the rotogrind, but we have some challenges. So I make here advantage and disadvantage of the two chopping methods. So related to the Chinese advantage of conveyor chopper, the main advantage is that we're getting equal chopping size, less than 30 millimeter if it's a good chopper. In the rotogrind chopper, we're getting very different size of of chopping. You will see it in a few minutes. The disadvantage of the conveyor chopper is we need a lot of labors. So, and it can be a real problem when you're trying to do, when you're working with such a big quantities to hire the worker for not, it's, you have to hire the worker for a short time. And if it's falling on a holiday or something, everything have to be stopped. When we work with the rotogrind, we have our own worker in the farm that are permanent workers are doing the work of the silage, and it's much more easy to control. Another problem we faced in the past with the conveyor chopper, that not always they had a good, they couldn't break well the grain. We got a lot of cups that are still with the grain on top, on them. Only the capacity was only 6 tons per hour. Difficult to handle big quantity of corn. It was taking 10 to even 14, 20 days to finish a bunker of 2,000 tons. It's way too long. So the advantage of the rotogrind, high capacity, it's 12 and even even more ton per hour. There is a machine now that's doing 30 to 40 tons an hour, breaking the corn grain and very well. It's really breaking all the grain because it's a hammer. It's low labor. 2 to 3 people, operators can do all the chopping. Combination of machine, we can handle 1,000 tons of corn per day. The disadvantage are as I said, the materials are not chopped even. They are, and it's not so good for the cow. Too much, in one hand, too much long fiber, and in the other hand, too short powder. It's making from the corn, it's creating, some of the corn is smashing to powder. It's not keeping the effective fiber that we're looking for. You maybe can show now the movie number 3 that's showing how we operate a big farm operation with for 2,000 cow. And this is a combination of rotogrind working together, chopping, and you can see 2 people are feeding the rotogrind. Everything comes chopped and going into a truck. Wagon that going into they take it to the pit and compacting it. This is the wagon. Okay. We can move to the next slide. Here, this is a movie from yesterday. It's another, this is where we put inoculate, and and again, another operation of silage. This is a new pit only started. You can see the trucks start to come. Here they already start to fill the pit. The corn is chopped, immediately go to the pit and be compacted in the pit. I think it's enough for this movie. Okay. Now this is so this I try to show here the problem that we are facing with the rotogrind. The main problem is the the big advantage of this system that we can handle really huge quantity of forage coming from a lot of small farmers. But the compromise is the way it's chopping, that we're getting too much. If you can see the chopping, if we do Pennsylvania test, we're getting a lot of chop material in the top, long fiber, what we call, and a lot of chopped in the too small in the bottom of the Pennsylvania test, that we prefer to have most of our forage coming. If we look at the TMR, we want it to be that most of it will be in the second and the third part, and not in the first and the last part. So if I compare it to a camper of, this is elephant grass, not corn, but if I compare the same material that chopped by a camper, so in the top layer of the Pennsylvania test, we're getting only 2.3% compared to 18% in the rotogrind. So this is the compromise we are facing, and we are still looking for all kind of ways to improve this situation and to make the chopping more even, and then we will get a better result. Okay, next slide. So our main difficulty using auto grind system and making silage. So when we had as I said, when we're getting a long fiber, so it's creating too much long fiber in our TMR. It's also reducing the quality of so at the beginning we had even worse. We had higher level in the longer fiber in the top layer, and it was very difficult to compact it. So we needed to, as you see in the picture, this is example for a bed compacting that I can put my hand into the silage pit, and this gave us very bad results. And so we found that for us, the best area to buy from the farmers when the corn is around 30 to 32% dry matter. If it's over 30, it starts to be, the chopping is becoming even longer, and then it's more difficult for us to compact it in the pit. So what we are doing is, again, we bind 30 to 32%, and in some cases, some of the farms in Vietnam, we're adding corn grain to increase the dry matter and the starch and to get better fermentation. So today, we can move to the next slide. The quality check when we make the silage, dry matter. So for us as managers, we're getting a lot of picture during the process from our employees in the farm. They send us, every truck they will send a picture of the corn that come, sampling that they take. We will take sample to measure dry matter for every truck. And also they will send all the time pictures and movie of all the process of the compacting process, the sealing process, the adding the inculate, and at the end, the sealing with the, here we have 2 layers of nylon that we are using. That is not, the truth is we are looking now for a better cover, nylon cover to start work. I hope this year we will start to buy a better sealing nylon that will prevent oxygen coming in better from this, the one where you see in the picture. We can move to the next slide. So this is again to improve. So during the year, we found that 30 to 32% with adding corn is giving us a better compacting solution. In some farm, we use sausage that it's look also quite. There is advantage for Vietnam condition, and because at the end we want to finish quickly to seal the corn, and we have from the beginning a problem that it takes time from harvesting until the corn coming to the farm. So when we minimize the time for exposing to oxygen, we see better results in the lab of fermentation. We see lower level of acetic acid. We can move to next slide. Here is an example of some results of some of the pit. So we are not getting we are still not in the level that we want to be. We don't get 60 or 65% lactic acid, but some pits are better, and we are still in a process of learning and improving. All these pits are without adding corn grain. With the corn grain, we have a better, when we add in corn grain, we have a lower level of acetic acid. Okay. But this is again, this is another check that we are doing when we're doing the silage. When we use the silage, we try to minimize the second fermentation by taking always using the excavator, for example, to take the silage from top to bottom and not from bottom to top, not to enter oxygen into the wall of the silage. And we measure ourselves twice a week with the pH level of the silage, and you can see in the bottom a graph of all our measurement in the last, this is one from 2018 till 2019. So slowly, the beginning was very rough and a lot of mistake in the process, and the silage was not so stable. But with time, we got better and the silage become more stable. But we still have a way to improve because we can see that we are not achieving the level of lactic acid that we are looking for. Okay, next. And this is my last slide, just to emphasize how many people are enjoying from these farms around Vinamilk. So when we generate a huge amount of money from employing people and from buying material from the small farmers. So around 6.5 million is an earn of the farmers that are selling food for our cows. And we have around 261 families farm that's supposed to, this is for 1,000 cow, by the way, not 2,000, needed to supply corn for one farm, and 2,600 workers to harvest the corn. And in the farm itself, it's not so many, it's around 50 workers. So it's a really big contribution for the employment for rural areas of Vietnam. where we building our farms. That's all from my side. If you have any question, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Gonen, and thank you for this very open and deep insight in your production chain. That was really impressive. And I already have a lot of questions, but we will go into the questions later on in the open discussion. And everybody else who has questions, we have a lower button Q&A. Please use this one. I will read them out and get the questions into the discussion. Before we go for discussion, we will go to the country next to Vietnam. So going to Thailand, and there we have a speaker who has a kind of a bit different point of view on silage production. So Professor Dr. Somkiert Prasanpanich of the Department of Animal Science at the Faculty of Agriculture of the Kasetsart University is now our guest. And he's a quite experienced scientist, of course, and knows also about the scientific point of view on silage production, but he has also quite good insight into the practice in Thailand. So, Professor Somkiert, the stage is yours, and we are happy to have you here.
Hello, good day. First of all, I have to say thank you for inviting me to have the discussion today. So my topic today will be on silage production for dairy farming in Thailand. I will combine silage production and dairy farming together into these topics.
Yeah, it's working. Looks good. Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. So in Thailand, food security. Dairy products are said to be our food security in Thailand because they provide a good and healthy food for the Thai people, and with the long side from our late king, former King Bhumibol, King Lama the Ninth. The project from Denmark was provided to Thailand in 1962. And then after 1962, it was an era for intensive dairy production, and now we are going to see the dairy production in Thailand. Thai dairy production is mainly under cooperative system because a lot of dairy farmer, and most of them, there are about 17,000 dairy farmer in Thailand. Most of them are medium-sized farm of about 25 to 35 lactating animals. So let's look at the dairy production structure in Thailand. The farmer themselves deliver their milk to the cooperative or the private milk collecting center, and then all the milk will be transferred to the milk processing plant to produce commercial milk. In this commercial milk, they can use both raw milk and skim milk. But for the school milk program, this is for the student from year 1 until year 6. This is we call school milk. We use just only raw milk in Thailand only. So this is the milk business in Thailand. About 3,300 tons a day going to from private milk center and cooperative. 40% of them, they are school milk, and 60% of them, they are under commercial milk or business milk. Our annual milk consumption of the Thai people is around 18 liters per head per year. Some people will say, oh, it's quite low. In tropical country, that's right, because Thailand is just, our dairy production in Thailand is about 65 years old at the moment. And we still having that, we still need some development to increase our milk production and also increase our milk consumption. Approximately about 800,000 of dairy cattle in Thailand. Half of them are lactating cow and half of them are the other are replacement. The average of milk yield in Thailand is about 12.5 kg per day. And about nearly 300 milk collecting centers. About two-thirds of them are under cooperative, and the rest they are under private milk collecting center. Because there are about 100 milk processing plants that can produce milk of 3,200 tons per day. So now let's look to the milk standard and the current content. You can see that the commercial milk and the school milk. This is the standard now. But if you want to produce school milk, you have to follow this kind. You have to follow this total solid fat percentage and solid not fat percentage. So at this, but the Thai farmer now, some of them they can do that, but most of them they still need some improvement. They still need some improvement to upgrade our milk composition to about total solid should be at around 12.5%. So let's look at the challenge. In the next 5 years, the FTA between Thai and Australia, New Zealand in dairy product, we still have this improvement because in 2025, when all dairy product from New Zealand and Australia going to Thailand, the taxation is 0. So this is our challenge. But all the challenge might be our opportunity to upgrade, to improve our dairy production in Thailand. So let's look how we can change the challenge into our opportunity. We need to improve our large feed quality for better quality milk and animal health. Feeding strategy for better milk quality and animal health. You can see that besides all the grass fed, we still have byproduct, agricultural byproducts such as rice straw and many kinds of byproduct, but they are quite low quality. Then we have to improve our high quality large feed. A promising good quality large feed that we are expecting to produce for our farmer. It is corn silage. In Thailand, we have corn stover silage, we have grass silage. But when you compare the nutritive value among guinea grass silage, the whole corn silage and corn stover silage, you can see that the best one they are from whole corn silage because whole corn silage is said to be the best large feed. Enriched with energy content in themselves. So now go to the whole corn silage. Corn silage, they are they are conserved blood fat. They are conserved blood fat. They can itself, they can it's good by themselves to feed to the cattle. And also, if you mix it to the total mixed ration, your total mixed ration will have a better quality for the daily cattle. And then Kasetsart University, we set up a corn silage model. We believe that the daily cooperative, they need good quality milk yield, the good quality milk yield from the daily farmer, from their member, but they have to go and survey the demand from their member, and then they get the demand from their member, the total demand, so of corn silage, and then the daily cooperative have to find the corn producer, the corn silage producer, and then make an agreement, make an MOU for them to supply the corn silage to the cooperative and going to the daily farmer. But our technical services from Kasetsart University in terms of seed, in terms of knowledge, we provide to the corn farmer, and then if the corn farmer or the corn silage producer, if they need some financial support, they might go to the bank for the investment, and then finally, this is the integration of all sector dealing with the good quality corn silage to produce premium milk, and then going to be a premium dairy product at the end. So this is the picture of the corn seed, the corn variety. Suwan 5 is one of the good quality seed, produce good quality silage, but they're still having some commercial corn breed from the private company. So this is to achieve the model of our corn silage model. This is the marking of an MOU for corn silage to Meta Agriculture Cooperative in Lamphun province. Our president, our KU president, going there to be the witness to the cooperative committee, and our corn breeder, Dr. Chokchai, we were there to make an MOU to produce corn silage, to provide them all the technical services involving both corn and dairy production. And then corn silage, we have a farm for demonstration. We have a farm to demonstration, and some farm they don't want demonstration. They use it at their office in their daily farm. So because they need to improve their milk quality as premium as the milk in New Zealand or in Australia. So this table showing that this is the milk composition of in Meta Agriculture Cooperative. We got that MOU in June last year, and when we look at the milk composition from June until December, you can see the progress. You can see the improvement of the milk quality in terms of fat percentage, protein percentage, lactose, and also the total solid. They are going to be better and better. Finally, last month in December, we got the total solid of 12.74%, and the fat percentage is about 4. So this content is as good as the content of milk in Holland and in New Zealand and Australia. So this is the example. This is the example of the progress composition when we introduce corn silage to the dairy cooperative. This is another province. We got a training. We give some training to the dairy farmer, to the cooperative, and to produce corn silage. To produce corn silage for their cooperative, and also most of them they can produce by themselves, and some the cooperative have to find the supply of corn silage to provide to the member at the end. So finally, we got good quality milk composition, and then we have to increase our annual milk consumption. We try to increase our milk consumption from 18 liter to 25 liter with premium milk quality. Okay, this is all about the silage production for dairy production in Thailand. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Professor Somkiert. Thank you for your insights into Thai silage production, also a little bit into the milk market as well. Thank you for that. And we already have a couple of questions. And the first one would be, which affects both of you, I would say, building up such kind of cooperatives to really bundle the use of machinery and land. So you do it already in Thailand, but Mr. Gonen, how is it in Vietnam? So you have a big dairy farm, but on the other hand, you work with hundreds of small farmers. Is there a way to organize them in a cooperation so that you also can use better machinery or even install a rental center for at least for harvesting or so? Is that an idea?
It's something that I think it will happen, but it's more or less like in Thailand. So we're working in front of cooperative that are organized together to buy the seeds and maybe. But as I said in the presentation, the farmers themselves, they want to control their own land. They don't want to give their land and someone else will come and operate it. And so they are not ready yet. I think with time it will happen, but they are not ready. And it's difficult if they planting by hand. Okay, so it's difficult, and they also marking their area with some way. They putting stones and all kind of things to mark their own space. So you cannot come in with the harvester and machine until they will not agree to take it out and use technology to. We suggest them, for example, to use GPS to mark their area by GPS and then to calculate how much harvester. But they are. It's still in negotiation. They are not there yet.
Okay.
So that's right, because in Thailand, as I said earlier, we are medium farmer under the cooperative. They occupy just little land, so the operative have to find the big land for planting corn, to supply them. So this is the job for the cooperative to find that big farm. But there are about maybe 10 to 15 biggest farms in Thailand. They have their big farm. They have the big corn plantation area to produce their corn silage throughout the year. Because Thailand, we are in tropical country, we can produce corn year round. So this is different from the farm in Vietnam and also in Europe, because our small dairy farmer they rely on the support from the cooperative, and the cooperative have to play an important role to support them in any kind of activity to improve their milk production.
Okay. So thank you for that moment. I have one specific question to you, Mr. Gonen. If you have such a number of maize or corn deliverers, so do you have a kind of system to check the dry matter and chemical parameters before you prepare the receipt for silage then?
We check the dry matter. We based our price on dry matter. We take a sample from every truck, and we're doing a quick analysis of dry matter. Till now, we don't do any other kind of, we don't use a NIR system yet. But some other companies in Vietnam, they also use NIR for checking quality. But I don't think for every truck, they do it for the whole, for the silage when they use it. For the truck, as much as I know, everyone uses a dry matter system.
Yeah, that's the first point to use, yeah. Right. There's another question. When we are already as a receipt, and is there, what is the ratio when you use elephant grass between corn silage and elephant grass? And do you use any dry feed as well, like hay or something like that?
You're asking us. We use, first of all, we use more Guinea grass. It's more popular because it's more stable. Personally, I think the elephant grass can be very good, but it's more difficult to control the harvest. You're missing a few days and it's become too old and the quality going down quickly. And also plantation is very difficult with elephant grass. With Mombasa, you have seeds to plant, so it's easy and mechanical. So usually, again, it used between, can go down in the winter. Now in the north, it's not going so well, all the tropical grass, so it can go down to 1 or 2 kg in the ration. And then we use also rice straw in the rations as a source of forage and corn. And in the summer, when we have a high yield, it can go up to 5-8 kg in wet matter, not in dry. It's around 16 to 18% dry matter, the grass. We don't. We're doing some all kind of silage, but not too much from it. Again, there is there is a company in Vietnam that's doing it with harvesters, and then they have big land and they harvest everything. So they have equipment to wielding the Guinea grass, and then they pick it up with the machines and they increase the dry matter to 25%, and then they put also adding a corn to increase because there's not a lot of sugars and starch in the Mombasa, so, and the dry matter is still quite low, so they adding, as much as I know, also a corn grain to get better fermentation. We are still working with farmers in this, with the Mombasa grass also. So we're using more, we mix it with molasses and rice straw to increase dry matter and to get more sugars. But personally, I don't like it so much. I try to avoid it, and if I use it small quantities. I didn't find a good way without the machinery to make good silage from grass. I think you have to.
Okay, but this is something we do in Germany, actually in Europe, very well. So grass silage but it's a different climate and different grass varieties actually.
Yeah,
So,
yes, but I think machinery can help, and we still lack of machineries. Yes.
Yeah, okay. One question is also,
to Gonen. Do you use any inoculum to improve their fermentation?
Yes, we use xylosol. We use xylosol. We have another product that we are checking now. Before we found that xylosol work well in terms of lactic acid. We're getting a better level of lactic acid when we adding.
Okay.
Yes.
So one question was also to improve the quality of the biomass you get from the farmer. So how is the paying performed? So is it only per ton biomass, or is it also the quality? And can you encourage farmers to produce better quality if you say, okay, if with your feed we can increase protein content of milk, so you will get a better price? Or how is the pricing made in Thailand or in Vietnam? Was a single farmer, Professor Somkiert. Do you have an idea in Thailand?
In Thailand, we buy fed shop corn from the farmer. From the farmer, the price is between 1.3 to 1.6 baht per kg. And then they go into the silage making. The price at the corn silage making, they are around 2.3 to 3 baht per 1 kg. So this is the price for the corn silage in Thailand at the moment.
Okay, and in Vietnam, how is it done with mineral?
As I said, dry matter, and also we're looking now on ways to give a better benefit for the farmer on good higher starch, but we still for corn, when we buy corn, if we can estimate the level of the starch before when we're buying, we will maybe increase their price.
Okay, and is it also that you may recommend some kind of the corn varieties, because there's a big differences between the varieties?
Yes.
How, yeah?
Yes, we are looking also on variety. It's not my job, so I cannot tell you, but
yeah, okay, sure.
But in general, they are investigating on varieties that are giving more starch and higher dry matter, and they give. We are encouraging the farmers, or even give them the specification for the variety we want them to grow and how to grow it.
I guess for the corn for the corn variety in Thailand, we are now using the local corn seed. Kasetsart University, we introduce two or three breed, two or three variety of corn seed to the farmer with low prices. 100 baht a kg. 100 baht a kg for our Kasetsart corn seed. But if you compare to the commercial seed from the big company, the price of the corn seed going up to 200 and 220 baht a kg. So they did the difference between the cost of production, and we have and the quality of the Kasetsart seed. They are quite the same or more than the commercial breed at the end. But I don't. But for Mr. Gonen, what kind of corn variety you use in Vietnam? You introduce them from Holland or by from Vietnam itself?
I really, it's not. I'm not dealing with it so much, but I'm not. But as much as I remember and know, is mainly local varieties that develop in Vietnam, or maybe also from Thailand. But I think it's It's mainly local from Southeast Asia.
We can make a deal.
Okay, no open business here on this platform. Okay, I have another specific question to you, Mr. Gonen. So what is the silage KPS that you are reaching with your roto grinder?
You mean for one machine or one? As I said, I think there is a machine that's doing now 30 to 40 tons per hour of chopped corn. And we are this machine that you saw in the movie, the combination of 6 machines, we can compact 1,000 tons per day with this combination of machine. And
just a question on that as well. So what technology do you use to get out the silage of your silo? So we saw some pictures where there's a very nicely prepared wall actually from taking out the silage for feeding. What technology do you use there for?
So we use 2 technology. One is just excavator that, like in the picture, that just take for the big farm. So usually we start with the excavator because, and then at the finish we do with a machine with the telehandler machine that rotate.
Yeah, so the turning one.
Turning one, and we're finishing the pit, but it takes too much time to do it. It's 4,000 cows, so the beginning of the pit, the first part we do with the excavator. It's doing quite good job and more quickly, and then we're finishing with the machine to make it more to keep it more straight and clean. The last cut.
Okay. And to both of you, question: how much corn per hectare is actually harvested in an average farmer's field? Or may
in Thailand, from the Kasetsart corn seed, we get around about 60 tons per hectare. 60 tons per hectare.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That is from our university seed. 60 tons per hectare.
My numbers are a little bit lower. I think the farmers, as much as I know, they're getting 35 to 40 tons. And some good farmer will get 50, but it's not really. It's more about between 35 to 40, as much as I know, per hectare.
Okay.
Then as I said, you should have a big deal with Kasetsart University to provide you a good quality seed.
Okay, and one question also to Thailand as well. You showed some slides about numbers, the milk consumption in Thailand per person per head. So is it already with imported milk, or is it only the in Thailand produced amount of milk?
About 3,300 or 400 tons per day. This is from our local. This is from our local production. But we try to improve. We try to increase this kind of the milk yield from our Thai cow. That is a crossbred Friesian. That is a crossbred Friesian. And then if you look at the milk consumption, it is quite low, 18 liters a year. But we try in the next few years, we would like our Thai consumer, our Thai people to drink more milk, and that should be up to 25 liters per year in the near future.
Okay, so there's a future increase expected, so to say. There's another question to you, Professor Somkiert. can you advise about using corn silage in combination with other feed like pineapple skin, cassava fiber, and so on, to improve actually the performance of the feeding of the herd? Of the cow milk. So mixing in other ingredients.
So normally, if you use the separate feeding, you feed corn silage separately and supplemented with meal concentrate. The corn silage should be about 20 to 25 kg per day, and then you can supplement a pineapple and any other thing to support the production and also, but if you have to look at the cost of production, if you have to look at the cost of production as well when you supplement any kind of meal concentrate, because corn silage quality is it good? Is sufficient enough to use the proper amount of meal concentrate?
Okay, thank you. That was a very good answer to the question. And one thing again, how many percent of the dairy farmer, I would say in Vietnam and in Thailand, are actually using silage? So many will also use fresh feed or fresh plants. So is the silage production well known in practice as well, also with the smaller farmers?
So that I mentioned earlier, normally at the moment, the Thai dairy farmer they use in rainy season they use fresh grass, but in dry season they are using rice straw, but corn silage is now introduced to the dairy farmer to change the feeding strategy. To change the feeding strategy, because corn silage you can produce year round, and then you can supply to every month within a year. But for fresh grass you have just only in rainy season, and after that you use just only rice straw. But if your demand for corn silage in each month, you can talk to the cooperative that you want corn silage in that month, and then let the cooperative supply your requirement to yourself.
Okay. And how is it in Vietnam?
So in Vietnam, we have the big farm and the small farms, but the big farms are today using only silage, because we found that feeding silage in a hot weather is better than fresh cut. The silage, because of the acids in the silage, can be kept in the feeding line for a longer time, more fresh. And when you give, so dry matter intake of the cow will increase a lot when you're using a good corn silage. When your corn silage is not good, it will reduce. So if you're feeding your cows with silage and they're eating less than the fresh cut, it's meant that your silage is not good. But if your silage is good, and so they will eat. So if the silage is good, they probably will eat better silage than they eat fresh cut. So if you're doing a good silage, you will get better dry matter intake and higher milk. And we have farms today in Vietnam, our farms and other farms that are doing more than 30 kg per cow per day, all around the year. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Yeah, that's similar in Europe as well. So coming for the last question, with a look on the time, last question coming from the pure silage to the cows. Which cow races are used in Thailand, and also which cow races are you using in Vietnam? Actually, is there one preferred race of cows? So do you use a European race of cow or a local?
Oh no, they are crossbred. all the dairy cattle in Thailand, they are crossbred Friesian. They are crossbred Friesian. Yeah, they are crossbred Friesian.
In Vietnam,
And in Vietnam?
it's mainly Holstein, American Holstein.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Last question, short answer, perfect, but everything fine. So now I want to thank you, Professor Somkiert and Mr. Gonen, for your openness, and we're really frankly laying out your knowledge. That was really, really perfect. That was really nice. And actually also the question proved it, that we had the right persons here as guests. And still, I'm really convinced that a proper silage production is a kind of art, and you are the artist in this regard. Thank you for that. And I see that silage production is really quite difficult. And like Mr. Gonen said, that a lot of also in technology. So using different kinds of inputs also for silage depends on the right technology to use, actually, like grass or getting a good kernel cracking in the silage and so on. So that would be something we have to look forward to. And at the AGRITECHNICA Asia, we will see technology or manufacturers who quite really offer that kind of technology. Well, at the end, it's always making business for both sides. So finding the right price. This at the moment is not the right platform, but at the AGRITECHNICA Asia in May, hopefully that will be. So thank you, both of you. Thank you, the audience, for joining and also asking that many questions. It was really very nice to have. And I can only say for tomorrow, we will have our last digital expert talk this week. It will go for fruit and vegetable production, again in Vietnam. So Vietnam is a really good producing country. And if you are interested in the recorded versions of all the other talks this week, on Monday it was on rice, on Tuesday it was on sugarcane, yesterday it was a whole summit on trading, and today's you can find all those recorded discussions and so on our digital platform, actually. And hopefully I see you again tomorrow, same place, same time, for fruit and vegetable production in Vietnam. And again, thank you for all speakers and also the participants here. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye. See you
Thank you very
sometime
much.
in Bangkok.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.